morning out here, guys. Got well below freezing last night. It's only about 22 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's supposed to get up to just above freezing later on the day, but it's not helping me out this early in the morning. Right now I'm crunching through the snow, following some coyote tracks. You can see them here. I know that there's 2 coyotes in this area. Been following these tracks for a little while now, just heading back towards the south end of the woods to the trail camp. It's time to swap out the batteries. They held up through last week. I grabbed the memory card with the footage for this past week and get that up on the channel. Winter's finally settled in here, it seems, and I was fighting off the urge to bring out the herd some apples or something. I didn't do it this week. That's like an every other week thing. I don't want to bring out too much food and get them thinking that there's always going to be food right there in that plot. I have to remember to go look for it. So whenever you're baiting the deer in and things like that, it's okay as long as you do it kind of sporadically and not really in a pattern, because wildlife will pick up on patterns, whether it's your patterns or patterns of food. So if they think that there's food there, they're just going to keep going back there and looking instead of to their normal food plots, and you're changing their natural behavior by doing that. So I didn't bring out any treats this week. It's now that winter set in, it's important for me to give gaps in that and not change their natural pattern too much, not get them dependent on that area for food, even if it is only a single bag of apples. I haven't seen any sign of trail at this point in the woods, but I'm on the north side of the ridge where I normally encounter them, and with it being this cold out, chances are they're bedded down in the thicket patch already. They might be heading up to that south thicket patch this time of year. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, they're going to be going to the south end of the woods, the southeast primarily, because that's where they'll get the first rays of sunlight, and they become extremely dependent on every ray of sunlight that they can get this time of year. So whenever it's this cold outside, I always expect to find a deer on the southeast corner of the forest. We're coming up on New Year's already. Oh, here's some rabbit tracks. Got a few rabbit tracks heading through the woods here. Don't see too many rabbits around. There's too many bald eagles and hawks, and a lot of owls. So seeing a rabbit's rare. Squirrels, on the other hand, they have a little bit better chance than the rabbits do. But what I was saying there, we're coming up on New Year's, and just a couple months after that, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the Huntsman series. We kicked off the Huntsman series on the first day of spring, which was March 20th this year. So we only have a few months before we hit our 1-year anniversary. The channel has done exceedingly well in the first year, and here lately I've been kind of looking back at everything that we've accomplished and everything that we've done and all the changes that we made, and some of the shock value, those what the fuck moments over the past year, and following this herd from down in the river bottom all the way down there near where the hunting camp is at and where the Cobb Cottage build is at, all the way up here to the south end, getting the trail cam implemented into the series, and just bringing the wildlife into the bushcrafting genre altogether has been, man, this past year's been one hell of a ride, hasn't it? So yeah, here just the last few days, I guess, I've been looking over the past year and what I've been able to accomplish and what I still have yet to accomplish as far as the Huntsman series goes. We're bringing in some new features here soon. We're going to have a daily vlog started, and we'll get more information on that a little bit later. I can't give away too much right now. That's still in development phase. Man, I'm nostalgic over the past year. I've met some amazing people. I've got to network with some amazing people. The girls in the Huntress stream came in and jumped right on the opportunity to support the channel when I was absolutely nothing. I mean, I didn't have that many subscribers. I think I had under 500 when I started sending out the copyright requests, to use their footage on my channel. And all but 3 of the women that I've contacted to appear in the Huntress collaboration have jumped on the opportunity to be part of it. And I'm extremely thankful to all of them for having faith in me and being able to network with women who are already established in the outdoor field, whether it's hunting or hiking or travel vlogging or whatever they do. It was really awesome having a whole group of people willing to step up and support the series without really getting anything in return except for some social media plugging, The series has changed a lot since we started off. We started off with the bushcrafting genre, and the more I see now of that genre, the more I just knew it wasn't the right fit for the channel. And I wanted kind of a steady evolution for the channel, and I think we've done that. And we're still evolving, we're still adding new things in, we're still pushing the envelope, we're still breaking the rules, and we're still growing every single day. So I'm hoping to come up on 4K subscribers by New Year's Day. On New Year's Day, we will be posting the 50th episode of the Huntsman series. 50 episodes in less than a year's time. So we started off this series on the first day of spring. We'll hit episode number 50 on New Year's Day, and I'm kind of excited about that. We got something special planned for the 50th episode of the Huntsman series. Just now crossing the ridge. I could run into the herd any time now. And just trying to go as slow as I can up through here. Of course, like I said, it's well below freezing, so the snow's kind of got a crunch to it. They've already heard me coming from 2 miles away. So we're going to make a quick stop at the cam. I'm not putting out any bait this time. Just swapping out the batteries, retrieving this past week's footage. And then we're going to be moving on out of the area kind of as quickly as we can. I don't want to linger around here too much, leave too much scent in the woods. Again, not trying to overly change the natural patterns of the deer. I didn't bring my normal backpack with me today. Today, I'm giving the total pack a good stretching. We're going to go over that here in a little bit, and you'll be able to check out the pack review video. Had this pack out for the past week in different conditions, doing different things to it, trying to beat the shit out of it, to be honest, to give an honest review. So I took my time with testing the pack. We did have a couple of live streams where we were able to recharge our mobile devices using the backpack, and we'll get into how that all worked here in a little bit. But to be honest, the total pack is absolutely great if you're trying to do what I'm doing today, which is travel light and fast. Don't need a lot of gear. I'm coming up in here, just swap out my trail cam, batteries, and memory card, and then we're going to hike down into the extreme south edge of the woods, see if we can start finding their winter bedding grounds, or some more winter bedding grounds, because in February, March, April, even sometimes at the end of January, we'll be able to hike out here. If we keep track of the bucks and their normal patterns, we can hike out here, kind of follow those routes that they have, and maybe pick up some sheds, which are dropped antlers. Early spring, the bucks will drop their antlers. They'll just fall right off of their heads, and we can come out here and try to find the racks. It's kind of a early spring thing. Some people make it a tradition. We did try to come out here early on in the series and do some shed hunting. That did not work out. But the difference between then and now is we've tracked this herd for an entire year. We know where they're at now. The first time I came out here, I didn't know the patterns of the herd or where the bucks might be. I was just aimlessly wandering, hoping I'd find an antler. This year, I know where they're at. I know how they move. And if I get desperate enough, which I probably won't, I know how to keep them in a general area using apples and the trail cam type setups, to where I might have better odds of picking up maybe even the huntsman buck's rack after it naturally falls off, so I don't have to hurt that buck in order to get his rack. That's the goal coming up after the new year. Here's my first deer trail going through here. This is a bit south of the cam. We'll be coming up on the cam soon enough. I do not want to follow that deer track. If I follow that deer track, I'll leave too much scent on it, and it'll change their patterns. Here's another track. These are probably the two bucks walking up through here. They tend to walk side by side like that, and I have a third track here. So again, learning how the deer move through the woods, their general routes, really increases my odds of being able to pick up a shed rack in a couple of months. So that is going to be one of the goals coming up after the new year. And it's kind of cold out here today. I did bust out my winter boots, and these boots are 2,400 gram maximum insulated waterproof boots. It really don't get no more heavy duty than that. I don't even need to have 2 pairs of socks on with these boots. I mean, I'm toasty warm with these things on. But they are big and bulky, and this is my first time actually out hiking with them. So I'm trying to break them in and get used to that balance of the sole, because they're so goddamn high compared to my regular hiking boots. It just takes some getting used to. But yep, starting to break out the winter gear. Got my face mask, and I can use this mask in multiple different ways. Here we have a section right here. Look at this. You see how the forest is all nice, neat snow, and then right here there's this big fuck up. So what's happened here is the deer are coming in here and they're tearing this up, trying to get at things, probably acorns, because these are oak leaves. They're probably in here fighting a little bit. It looks like we have a section right here where one even bedded down. The leaves are packed down real tight right there, but this is a high traffic area for the deer. Yeah, they're just tearing the shit up out of this. Like I said, you can see how pristine that snow looks off in the distance, and then right here in this section it's just tore up. So I don't know what they were doing up in here, but they were busy doing it. And this kind of tear up goes all the way up through here. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're trying to get the acorns off these oaks that are right here in this area. This is probably just a general food plot. Here we have some yellow snow. That's a bit of urine. So they're marking their territory too. Bucks are still a nut. I'm actually hoping to have a fight scene on the trail cam this week. I didn't really get one. Well, I got one. They were kind of wrestling around just a little bit, but they were off in the distance. I'm hoping to get a little bit better fight scene out of the boys this week. We'll see what they gave up for us anyway. A lot of activity right here in this area, and this is why I kept the trail cam right here. Just kind of making my way around the section. Always trying to come in from a different direction. It throws them off a little bit, and it keeps my scent from getting too strong in one specific section. Like if I was walking the same path every time, or walking past the same tree every time, or anything like that. Yeah, I don't want them to have that kind of commotion going on in their area. I am going to come into the side of the trail cam here, try not to trigger that last bit of footage, but it really don't matter because I'm swapping out the cards. Be interesting to see how the old girl held up in this cold. And even right here in front of the trail cam, we've had a lot of action going on. Some deep prints right there. That thing goes down in 2-3 inches. So they were out here during the rain. See the tracks coming up through here. The trail cam is right here, so yep, they were definitely in the area. Some of them crossed right in front of the cam, but there's not a lot of tracks since the snow fell. There are back there. We'll get to that in a second. Trail cam's right here. She got a little ice on her, but we'll see how she did. I did get out of the habit of trying to camo these out with leaves over top, because the leaves were always dropping down in front of the LED and bleaching out my pictures. Alright, let's see what we got on the replay. No file. Well, boys and girls, nothing triggered the cam this past week. What the hell? Well, let's go ahead and check these settings. Battery's still good because the cam never activated. So, we'll check the settings and we'll just turn it back on. So what happened here was the lock on the memory card that I'd set in the trail cam, whenever I showed it up through the slot, the lock slid down, so it didn't capture any images. So I went ahead and I got the trail cam reset. Just as I was locking it up, the entire herd come running up behind me. Since I was knelt down at the cam, they just ran right into me. I'm completely surrounded by the herd right now. I got them on all sides of me. A couple of them made it past me. and got over there to the east. I imagine they circled up into the thicket patch. I got 2 bucks wandering around over here to the west of me. The huntsman buck is up north with about 15 does, so the herd has gotten huge. They've all banded together. Whatever it was that had them walking this way, they were going at a pretty good trot. I couldn't grab the camera to turn it around as they were running right at me. If I would have moved, they would have just pulled it somewhere else. So I just sat as still as I could, and I kind of lowered my head, and they were just running. You can see in the grass here, or in the snow here, where they ran right past me, just a couple of feet away. And then they made this big circle up here, and they just kind of broke, the herd just kind of broke apart right here, about 100 yards north of me. Some of them went back to the west, some of them went off to the east, and the others were just sort of mingling around over there right now. But I think a lot of them, I think they're going to try to regroup back over into the west, so I'm going to head over that way and see if we can find out where they were bedded down at and see what might have spooked them up. I still got 2 does about 300 yards ahead of me up here. They're just wandering around eating, so they're not too concerned that I'm sitting here talking to you guys. None of them have like bolted or snorted or anything like that. But man, they're just all over the place right here. That was a dumbass mistake on the trail cam, because this area has been really active this past week. But like I said, whenever I slid the memory card up into the slot, the lock came down, so there was no place for the footage to go. I think that's fucking stupid about how they do memory cards. The locks are on there backwards. Because if you slide it up in, the lock wants to slide down. If it slides down, it's locked. If it's up, then it's open. They should reverse that, so when you slide it up in, it's always open. Alright, I got 1 buck over here just to the west of me. The rest of the herd, they made it up to the top of the ridge, and they're far enough away in the woods where I can't quite make them out. I just seen a tail flag over there a little bit. But we're going to try to move and see if we can get close to them, and see what the hell it was that scared them up. Maybe they were just wandering through. I don't know, because I didn't hear them coming up on me. It wasn't until I turned around that everything just went nuts for about 3 minutes. And the deer are just running all over me. It was like I had done kicked up a hornet's nest. And then they just sort of mingled on over there to the north, and the herd just kind of split apart a bit. But it looks like they're trying to regroup over there now. And I do have one of the bucks just sitting here watching me. I just seen him through a brush pile over there. I don't know if I can get him on footage or not, but we're going to try. Oh, this is fun. I don't know whether to just sit still right here. I'll walk on up there and try to see them. I can see the 2 bucks. I can see the racks. And look at this right here. I got one just walking up into the clearing right now. Raise your head up. He's over there nuzzling around that same area I showed you guys earlier where they were tearing up the ground. That's one of the bucks, though. Let's see if we can get him in there. That's HB. I wish he'd come over this way. He's been a little antisocial today. HB and a doe. Too busy eating to worry about me. At least he's got his priorities straight. That doe's staying pretty close to him. Yeah, see, he doesn't even care that I'm here. He can hear me just fine. He just don't care. I've been up here too much. Checking out HB's ass the whole time. Bastard don't want to turn around. Little doe came over here somewhere. She's watching me. That was an absolutely amazing experience. That's the closest HB's ever gotten to me. So how that played out. I go up to check the trail cam. Had the difficulty with the memory card lock had went down, and it didn't record anything for the past week. Bonus is I don't have to swap out the batteries because it wasn't recording. Bad thing is there was a lot of activity in that area that I missed because I just didn't have that. I didn't know that that memory card lock had slid down whenever I pushed it up into the cam. So I just reset the cam, and here come the entire herd walking right up towards me. I could barely turn around. I couldn't grab the camera or anything because they were all just scattered. So they come running, and it's like bees just buzzing all around me. They're just running in this circle all around me, and I just stayed as still as I could. And then eventually the herd broke up, and they started breaking off to the northwest, over here to the west, and a couple of them made it to the ridge over to the east. Two of the bucks stayed behind. Small 2-point, he's a young buck, and HB, the huntsman buck. So I let out a couple of calls, and HB came right up to me. The other buck stayed back a little ways, but HB came right up to me, and he was like right there, like I could have reached out and just tapped him on the nose. He sniffed me a little bit, and then he just real casual turned around and started walking back the other way. Absolutely thrilling, like my heart is racing being that close to him. Oh, wow, that was awesome. He is such a beautiful buck. And you know, over the past year that I've been tracking him, he's gotten closer and closer, but he's never gotten that close to me. And it didn't spook him at all. Whenever he came up and he sniffed me, he didn't spook at all. It's just like he was checking my ID, and as soon as he figured out who I was, that familiar smell, you know, he just casually walked away. That was amazing. Oh man, that was such an adrenaline rush. Like I can't describe how I'm feeling right now. Just getting that close and having that kind of activity just buzzing around. It was nothing but pure adrenaline, and I think it was for all of us. And then everything just kind of calmed down into this quiet moment just between me and HB. And oh man, I couldn't ask for a better morning. That was so fucking cool. Alright, so I gotta move around. Like I said, I want to do a little hike today. Not go, you know, all extreme or anything. It's just a light, fast hike, whatever we run into. You know, testing out the total pack. So, I'm just going to be walking along here. I'm actually following the trail that heads to the south edge, the very far south edge of the forest. We're going to run up here. I ain't been up in this section in quite a while, so we'll run up this way and see what we run into. Oh man, awesome morning, guys. Awesome fucking morning. Here we got this pretty heavy scrape. That looks a little bit older, but now that it's freezing out here, all of the water that would normally have this loose has dropped back down into the ground. That kind of rubbing, you could gather those up. They're dry as shit. Gather those up and use them for tinder to start a fire with. So I don't do these kind of things too often, but I'm going to go over a couple pieces of the gear that I bring out with me. I'm busting out the winter gear now, so we got a few new things here. This here is the Total Pack backpack. I've been using it to travel light and fast through the woods. It's made out of ripstop nylon. It's got a great diamond weave to the nylon, so this thing can go through briar patches or anything else, and you don't have to worry about it getting damaged. it's got a, my favorite feature, a USB charger port stitched right into the outside of the backpack. So you can put your battery pack on the inside of it, plug it in right there, and then you don't have to shuffle through all of your gear or anything to find your battery pack. You just plug in your electronic device to that USB charger port, and the backpack will charge your gear for you. It's got 11 different pouches, 2 water bottle pouches on each side, and the straps will hold up to 200 pounds of weight. I don't know why you would need 200 pounds of backpack, but yeah, that thing is built to take a beating. It's really light, it's really compactable. Like I said, it packs down to about the size of a canteen, so you can always have that thrown into your main gear pack. And then if you're out foraging or you want to make a quick trip and you want to take a little bit of gear with you to travel light and fast, you just grab this thing and go. Inside the total pack, these are my 2 leather fire starter pouches. They both got ferro rods and strikers in them. That's just backup. Here's another thing that I've been busting out. Now, I didn't put anything in this today, but this little pouch right here I have had for a long time now, and I think everybody should get their hands on something like this, and I'll show you why here in a sec. You got a belt loop there on the side. You also got the clip if you want to use it. It's got an outside pouch. The outside pouch is kind of tight, but I do put specific things in there. But I want to show you what's on the inside of this pouch. And again, I didn't fill it up because I want you to see what this is really all about. So inside this pouch I have these 6 tubes, right? Now, in each of these tubes I usually put different things. One of the things that I put into these things is whey protein powder. I try to fill up 2 of these with whey protein. Now, if I fill up one of these with a protein powder, each tube will make about 1 cup, and it will give me, 2, 3, 4 meals full of protein in 1 cup. So if I'm ever out in a survival situation and I can't get access to meat, I still have a source of protein right here in my pouch. Another one I might put in teas, herbal tea infusion, and then on the other side you could put anything from soup packet, like a cup of soup packet, boiling cubes, that kind of thing, where you can make a broth. You can make you can put those little dollar pouches of fruit juice in one, so you have a source of vitamin C. And then you can always have your last one have like a miniature fishing kit in there, some fishing line, hooks, and maybe a couple of lures. So this tiny little pack, you could have all of your meals in one pack. Whey protein, a source of vitamin C, some herbal tea, maybe some instant coffee, some fishing gear or something like that, all in a pouch that's the size of your hand. This is one of my favorite pieces of gear because I could put an entire trip's worth of food right here in these tiny little tubes. So I could have my whey protein in there, I could have vitamin mineral supplements in one, I could have a high calorie powder in another, I could have an herbal tea or a coffee mixture, I could have fishing gear in a tube. The possibilities are endless for a tiny little pouch like that, and it doesn't take up any space. So if it come to an emergency ration, I could even have like beef bouillon cubes in there to make like a broth for soup or anything. The possibilities are just endless with a pouch like this, and it's just too small to pass up. My winter gloves, I usually carry 2 pair of gloves with me. These are my heavier duty pair here. These are tactical gloves. They do tend to get a little bit stiffer in the wintertime, but I always carry the tactical gloves with me with the extra knuckle padding on them, and they got a good grip. And tactical gloves are good to use whenever you're doing your wood processing, and then whenever I'm out tracking the deer, I got the Realtree Camo gloves. These are backcountries, so always have 2 pair of gloves with me. And that's just some of the gear that I'm taking out with me now. And then like I showed you earlier in the video, I busted out my new pair of winter hunting boots. These are 2,400 gram insulated hunting boots. I could go through a blizzard with these things and my feet aren't going to get cold. I really don't do the gear thing all too often. I think people kind of overdo it some. For some reason, people like putting out these massive spreads of gear and they have like 150,000 different items in their backpack. That's what I'm carrying with me today, the stuff that you just seen. And one of those pouches is completely empty. I do have my ferro rods with me. I always carry those 2 leather pouches of fire starting material with me, just in case. I got my stainless steel cup and a coffee, bottle of water. And that's it. Like, I'm out here and I'm doing all this stuff, and my pack weighs less than half a pound. So again, light and fast hike today. I'm not doing an overnighter, not camping. I'm not even going down to camp today. I'm out exploring the winter woods. So I didn't need to bring a lot with me. I do have my bushcrafting knife with me, my deep woods bushcraft knife. I usually always have it in my backpack. So, you know, source of fire, cup of coffee, good knife, and that's really all I need for a day hike. I don't need to be carrying a shit ton of gear out here every single time I come out. I always prep my gear the night before, cater to the type of trip that I want to take, the amount of time that I'm going to be spending out here. And I never have over 10 items in my bag at any given point in time, and that includes my filming gear. So I've had an amazing day out here today, just with what you've seen right there in the pack. A couple pairs of gloves, and basically just filming gear. Great day out here so far today. But we're actually going to be... Oh, there's the boys. $3. Damn it, son. Well, I knew I was going to be running back into the herd. They had come up here into this thicket patch, and as I'm walking through here, they spooked and bolted north. I got a crap ton of footage of the deer already today, so I'm actually trying to work around them some. If we get up close, we'll go ahead and get them. But I'm actually going to be heading out of the woods and down into the river valley. We're going to do some exploring real quick along the edge of the river. With winter settled in now and chances of snow covering the ground for the next couple of months, this might be one of the last opportunities that I have to get down there to the river bottom and do some treasure hunting. So that's how I'm going to round this out today. We're going to head down that way and do something completely different. We're out here in the middle of the woods. Amazing experiences with the deer today, and I am grateful to them for that. But I don't want to keep doing the same shit over and over again, so today we're going to go down to the main river that runs through my area and see if we can do one last treasure hunt for the year. And it's probably a good thing that my new hunting boots are waterproof, because the one section that I want to get into down there, we're going to have to cross the creek to get there. Now, the creek shouldn't be too deep, but that water is ice right now, literally ice, and I don't want to get wet going down in there doing a treasure hunt. So make our way back up through the woods here now. We'll go ahead and drop down into the river valley, get our treasure hunt on, see if we can find anything. We might get skunked, I don't know. I ain't been down there in months, so I don't know what might have washed up on shore between then and today. But that's how we're going to round it out. So far, an amazing day. I cannot wait to get home and be able to see the footage of the deer down there. That was awesome, and that's an experience I'm not going to forget anytime soon. Getting that close to the huntsman buck was just that was amazing. So we had that experience. We're going to go ahead and move on out of the area, get down into the river bottom, and we'll move on from there, guys. Well, guys, I made it down to the river, and as you can see, she's iced over pretty good. So we're just going to try to navigate this real slow without getting wet. Good test on the old waterproof boots. Icy. I think I can get across this ice sheet over there to that other bank. It will be golden. It's just stepping through this ice. If it gives way, I don't know if I'm stepping in a hole or not. Yeah, I can see it flowing under. So far, so good. This is a little bit more of a challenge. I'm just trying to get over there to that bank over there. Shallowest way possible. Which means sort of scouting stone a little bit. Let's see if we can make it. Well, thank you, waterproof boots. Alright, so the snow's going to make it a little difficult to see in most areas from what I can tell. But I'm just going to start scouting here, make my way around, and see if anything's washed up on shore the past couple of months. This is the area where the rose crystal deposit was washing up. But earlier in the year, I just wasn't finding anything. It's like the deposit had tapped out. So I don't know if the freeze and thaw last year just didn't break a lot free. I mean, I did find some decent pieces. Or if the deposit itself is just worn out, because like I said in previous videos, the rose quartz deposit that comes up in this area is not native to my part of the country. It's Ice Age deposit from the glaciers that came down. So there's only so much of it here. It's extremely rare. It's hard to find. I'm lucky I found the specimens that I have, and I know eventually the site's just going to wear out, and we might have come to that point. I haven't searched down here all year long. I thought that I'd just stop down here and give it a once over and see if we have any sign of new crystals that have washed up from a few floods we've had, you know, and just seasonal weathering. So we'll take a good look around, see what we can find, and right here's one right here. This is a white one, but that's a pretty good chunk of white quartz. Ugh. Of course, she frozen into the ground. Yeah, that's a pretty good chunk of crystal there. That's a good sign. But I ain't looking for the white. I'm looking for the rose. We'll set that aside. Might not be going home empty-handed, even though that's not what we're looking for. That's still a good crystal. So yeah, I'm just gonna scout around here. I did find that big white there. We'll go ahead and see if we can find any rose quartz that might have washed up. Not a detailed hunt. You know, just something to do on the way home. This happened to me on my way home from the woods, so worth the stop either way. Never know what has washed up in this area. So I'll take a look around. If I find anything, I'll bring you all back so you can check it out. So I'm not seeing anything at first glance, but I got so much snow and ice covering a vast section of this area that it's kind of hard to tell if there's anything here or not. I wish it would have been just a little bit warmer. Might have had better odds of spotting something. I'll go ahead and try to cross these rapids right here up to this other bank. Maybe I can spot something over here. Again, I am ever so grateful for these waterproof boots. But even waterproof boots will only get you so far if you go in over them. Alright. Again, you can see all the snow cover. It doesn't give me much of a search area as far as washed up treasures go. But, like I said, worth a look. Just a little pit stop on the way home. This area has changed drastically since the last time I was here. This little wide stretch here was not here. This is actually flowing over what used to be a hill. That used to be a real high hill, and this was just a trickle coming down one side of it. But that entire hill's washed out now. So it's on downriver. That means anything that was buried in that hill is upstream from here. Might have washed up on one of the islands or one of the other banks down that way. So whatever was buried in the hill that used to be here, we might be able to find further upstream. And I think I know a couple of spots that we can look for anything that might have dug out on up there. Just gonna give this area a quick once over. I really don't expect to find anything out here, guys. I think the deposit's pretty well tapped out. Here's another chunk of the white. Fairly decent sized chunk. I could drop that in acid and clean it up some. But again, it's not the rose deposit that we're looking for. These aren't this size. I mean, we have common rose quartz here because it used to be a seabed. But this size is a little bit rarer. What we got here? Looks like ice covered sandstone, maybe. Yeah. Ain't nothing. I don't know, guys. Keep looking. It's like a needle in a haystack now. A little bit more of a unique piece. That one's just, it's white, but it's been cut and polished a bit. Looks like it's been fractured in half. Still no roses. Still no roses. Now, the area that I'm on now would be the first deposit from the main area where I found them. So they get caught up here and they tumble on down, but the further upstream I go, the smaller they tend to get. Quartz is really hard, but this creek here happens to produce enough force to be able to crush it like it's nothing really. So the further upstream I go, the smaller the crystals tend to get. I was hoping to find a larger one back here, but so far no luck. This is the last major deposit for this bend in the creek. We'll go up here and take a look. If there's nothing here, the next big deposits on upriver, down in the main river. I have found the crystals down there before, but like I said, they tend to be a lot smaller than the specimens that I've picked up back here. And I have found them right here in this stretch. This is one of the first choke points in the creek coming out of that bend there. So they get knocked up here. They tend to get caught up for a little while anyway before they go ahead and tumble on downstream. A little bit rarer to find them here. I found maybe a dozen of them up on this stretch. I was hoping with the way that the landscapes changed from the floods and things like that, that maybe something more was catching up here, but like I said, I got so much snow cover between the snow and the ice, it's hard to see. I could be stepping right over one and not even know it. That's just one of the things about doing these little treasure hunts where you're just looking for crystals that washed up on these islands and banks. So really nothing on the, just a quick go over. There's really no point in trying to do a detailed search this time of year. One, the ground's froze solid, so it's not like I can dig too much out. The snow and the ice is covering so much surface area that, like I said, I could be stepping right on one right now and I wouldn't even know it just because it's all covered up. It's just too cold out here for it to melt. From what I can tell, a lot of the deposits of the past year have been sandstone, which is pretty common, but I'm actually used to seeing a lot more contrast in color in this area. Usually it's a million different colors that my eyes are trying to sort through looking for that pink shade. Right now it's just all kind of brown, just different tones of brown. It's just all sandstone deposits. So that's the primary stone that came out this year's flood time. I did find this couple of white chunks. Honestly, I'm really not too interested in those. They just don't have the same appeal to me. Now, we are talking about coming out here and hunting quartz crystals, so it's not like this stuff has any monetary value anyway, aside from the fact that the rose quartz doesn't belong in this area. It's a Canadian deposit that came down in the glacier. So aside from that background story of how they got here, there's really nothing to them. They're not worth much of anything. There is a market out there for them. I mean, there's a massive market for crystals and semi-precious stones. Some of the pieces that I have found out here run you in excess of $300 US. I would never sell them for that much because I just know how common they are. But whenever it comes to the markets, they'll sell at the price people want to believe it's worth, not what it's actually worth. So I'll give this one more quick look as I'm just walking back out. Like I said, the whole geology of this area has changed this past year. We got a lot of sandstone deposit up here. That one section of hill that's been cut out and washed downstream, that might have washed something up out in the main river. So I'm going to give this a quick once over on my way back out the way I came. Again, no point in a detailed hunt with the snow covering so much of the surface area, but I think we can go ahead and go down there to the main river and see if any of this stuff is washed out there, and maybe it got caught up down there. I don't know. Maybe I'll go down there and see the same thing that I'm getting here because the deposit's just gone. I have spent the better part of 10 years searching for these crystals, and they've held up all 10 years. I come out here, and every single time I came out here I never got skunked. Last 2 times I've come back to this area, aside from finding very small fragments, I really didn't find anything at all. So I think it's just wore out. I don't know, we'll see. I'll keep coming back to the area. I mean, it's not costing me anything to come out here and take a peek. We'll see if the freeze and thaw winter maybe recharges it a little bit. But so far, all I'm finding is white. I'm not finding any of the roses. We'll go ahead and check out the main river though real quick. Give it a once over, and then we'll be calling it a day. Alright, I come out to the first deposit along the main river. It was extremely rare to find crystals in this particular area, even whenever they were coming up heavy back at the bend in the creek. But I figured I'd stop here real quick to see if anything might have washed up. Everything's changed so much. This might have been, you know, a weak spot for them back then, but with everything changing, the geology, the bottom of the river and everything changing, you never know what's washing up where from one season to the next, really. Been out here a few minutes, gave it a quick once over, and I ain't seen nothing but the same old sandstone that I was finding up in the previous deposit. So right now I'm just debating on whether or not I want to go to one more section, which is a little bit further down through the woods there, and check it out. And it is a spot where I happen to have found quite a few smaller crystals in the past, maybe 24 of them down that way. For some reason they just wanted to wash up on this one bank down there, and it was pretty easy for me to find them in that area. But like I said, I've been to where the main deposit with the largest crystals I've ever found was washed up. I didn't see anything back there. This is the first deposit towards the main river. I'm actually at the mouth of the creek where the creek meets the main river, and so all of that stuff flowing out from there would wash up here first, and I'm still not seeing anything. So I'm just weighing it out, trying to think if it would be worth the walk through the woods down to that other section to check it out, and I just don't know. It used to be a good hunting area, but I could walk all that way just like I did here and not find much of anything. The other option I have is going back towards the truck. I could follow the creek. There's another island up there, but I didn't happen to see anything on that island either, so I just don't know, guys. Don't know if it's worth hiking a little bit further to see if we could find a crystal that may or may not be there. Now, one thing, I guess we could get some survival stuff in here real quick. One thing, whenever you're out hiking like this, you don't want to go full bore all the time. You want to kind of be lazy about it. And in a survival situation, you want to be lazy. That's one of the main contrasts that I see between bushcrafters out there, and they spend a lot of time and a lot of calories processing wood and building shelters and all that other fun stuff. In a survival situation, you do not want to be that active. You do not want to go through the 101 bushcrafting steps to start a goddamn fire. You don't want to spend half the day processing wood for any fucking reason. In a survival situation, you want to spend as little as energy as possible. Because once you burn up those calories, the chances of you getting those calories back with what you're provided in the forest are slim to none. So, whenever I'm out on day hikes like this, I'm lazy about it. I'm sitting down all the time. I'm laying out on logs. I'm walking at a slow, steady pace instead of going full bore, and not spending any more energy than I have to. No way I'm not getting burnt out. I could hike all day long because I'm not out here acting like, you know, I'm a hyperactive kid just wanting to cut, hack, and burn shit. I go real slow. I pay attention to my breathing, I pay attention to my heart rate, and if any of those things sort of get out of whack, I slow my ass down and I take a minute to regroup and refocus my attention on what's happening with my body, and not trying to impress the camera or trying to do too much too fast. So damn guys, I just don't know. I just don't know if I want to go down that way or not. See, my thinking is, I've checked 2 deposits and got skunked. If I go down that way, the chances are that area is going to be covered in snow just like these other 2 areas are, and my search area is not going to be that big. I could wait until this snow melts and then come out here and do a full-on search where I can actually see the entire area that I'm looking at. You know, save that for another video, because this one here is already getting pretty long. Yeah, I think that'll be a wrap for today, guys. So let's look back at what we got so far. We had an adrenaline rush, amazing experience with the herd, buzzing around like bumblebees. Had that one-on-one close encounter with a huntsman buck, closest I've ever had that buck get to me. That was a moment I will never forget. Did a little gear review there, what I carry in my backpack on day hikes like this, where I'm just out real quick, and I got my long-term calorie pack there for whey protein or whatever else that I need to put in those little tubes, whether it's broth or vitamins and minerals or whatever. You know, that's just a little booster pack. But I could design that pack to get me through a week or 2, and I would never run out of calories, protein, and energy to get out of just about anywhere. What else did we do? Did a little bit of hiking along a frozen ass creek, testing out the waterproof boots, which is another piece of new gear. We got the True Pack backpack review done. Came down here to see if any crystals had washed down river, but we got skunked. That's 2 times in a row that we got skunked on the crystal hunting. But man, it's been months since I've been down here, and like I said, there's so much snow and ice cover out there on that creek that I could have stepped right over top of the biggest one ever and not even known it. So I think the best thing to do is just save the last crystal hunt of the year for maybe a day whenever all this snow's melted and gone, and we have a better look at the surface area that we're trying to find them in. Ain't no point going out there and burning up a day looking for crystals with everything covered in snow. So I think that'll be about it. We got the new series that's going to be starting up in the channel here fairly soon. That's going to be a daily vlog series. I will get more into that and be releasing details on the vlog series the closer we get to the premiere of that. So we get a daily dose of Huntsman every single day once we get that thing rolling out, and you can check out the community section of the channel for more information. Always stay in touch with that community section for more information about what's going on with the channel. Follow on Twitter, follow on Instagram. I'll see you guys next week.